Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams' Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel. What's up? I know it's Sunday. You're footballing. You're preparing. I'm getting ready to make apple pie after this is done. So I know how people are feeling. It's Sunday, Erica. It's the fall. It's November 1st. Well, what is it? November 2nd, right? People are already gone for the year, right? But what did I tell y'all every year? And I will continue to tell you, this is the best time ever to buy tax deeds, which we'll talk about in the land grab course. I'll have training coming up. Talk about tax auctions, you name it. This is the best time. Everybody is holidays. Like I'm gonna stop by Hobby Lobby here shortly, but everybody's there, right? I'm making apple pie later. I'm doing all that good stuff. I'm having my hobbies, but I wanted to do this as a give back, and I continue to do this channel as a give back. Now you're gonna be like, well, who do you think you are giving back? What does that mean? And I just want to show this video. The K-shaped economy, the K-shaped recovery. I'm gonna hit a few points, and I'm gonna hit you on the low side first. We're gonna go low vibrational to begin with. I know y'all know, Erica, not the low vibrational stuff. We have to. I posted a post that said it never made any sense to me to say, yeah, all these black women are kicking all the black men out of the house because they want some $200 government assistance. Okay, y'all know that never made any sense. What y'all are, one or two people did comment a common sense comment. You have to think about the end of the Vietnam War in the 70s, okay? And you have to think about, let's go there. My mom was like first person, her and a couple people in our family were first to integrate schools, okay? And then in the 70s, late 70s, I'm talking about almost 1980, my mom was saying that if you were pregnant in school, you got sent to another school. They didn't have pregnant girls at school. You got sent away. And 9 times out of 10, the white girls gave the baby away. Now, you already know what happened in most black families. They kept that baby. Somebody kept that baby. They had a Southern adoption. There's countless stories of people who some neighbor raised the baby and the mom was down the street and they never knew. We done heard a million stories like that. So for somebody to kick that man out. Nah, what really happened is your grandpa, Mr. Ricky, had 2 different families and he couldn't always give enough to the other one. So did she get on assistance? Yes, that's how that happened. Did some of these people in North Carolina live in the middle of country nowhere, going down scary segregationist roads, trying to go to school and go to church, and the option to move into the city, you could move into the projects? Yes, that happened. That part happened. We've all seen pictures of New York City, Brooklyn, 1980s. It looks like a garbage dump over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that place was once the Renaissance, Harlem Renaissance, 1920s good times to what it looked like in the 1980s. So yes, were there men who walked away, who went somewhere else for work? Let's stop acting like everything's black women's fault. Like, we literally have channels of people in the middle of a recession, in the middle of millions of black boys not going to college, not going to trade school, not going to community college, not doing anything. And they're out here talking about, yeah, these black women. Y'all have got to get it together. You got to get it together. The stuff y'all saying out here sounds even more crazy. And this is why I do what I do. Because I realize we are losing some of our best and brightest because they're in a K-shaped recurring. Now you're going to say, Erica, wait a minute. Somebody said my stepdad was Rolling Stone. Listen, there's so many stories I can tell you where people told me Mr. So-and-so was mean, or Mr. So-and-so had another family. Oh, they went to the funeral, and here's, I had a cousin. My cousin went to a funeral and his dad died. They were like, what he doing here? Like, he was the surprise. Like, who your daddy was. Stop playing. Okay. But that's a very common story. And so to act like, I don't know why these black women just got that assistance. That's crazy. That's weird. We all know why they got assistance. People daddies was having second homes. People daddies walked away. People, a lot of black men died in the Vietnam War. So there was a gap there. And that's why the 80s look so different than the 70s, right? And we could talk about heroin, we could talk about a lot of stuff, but let me start it off with this. And it's gonna be petty. Go ahead and y'all can go ahead and boo me for the first 30 minutes because it's gonna be petty for the first 30 minutes. So prepare yourself, okay? I'm ready for the boos. Here we go. Let's start with this one. There's several that's gonna just y'all gonna be like, ooh, Erica. We're gonna bring it back to business, but there's gonna be some that y'all gonna be like, ooh, what we talking about today? Let me get to it. Oh, it's a Facebook thing. Oh, my bad. Here we go. Thought I was clicking on the right one. It's a Facebook one. Almost. Here we go.
You got the time. Broke people live day to day. Sometimes they live hour to hour, depending on what your situation is. If you're looking for money for the rent, you live hour to hour. Shit, really minute to minute. But if you got the money and your goal and your objective is to destroy immunity, you got 30 years. I already know how it's gonna play out. Cause I can sign contracts. And then we talk about further alienating gifted people. Now, if you're in an environment like this and your son is a whiz, your daughter's a whiz, or they're gifted athletically, the disdain that you're going to have for what's going on outside is going to be paramount because you don't want to ever be involved in that. So this is where we start getting gifted black kids taking their talents outside of their neighborhood. Private schools for basketball, private schools for football, private schools for education. The quality of education in your neighborhood is no longer valuable. We know that education is based on property value. Well, the property value is shit now. Therefore, the value of education is shit, and I have to send them over there with them white folks. And you subject them to racism, ostracization, but then also like a survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse. But you also alienate them to the place where, hey, I was smart. My mom sent me to a white school, and I've been around all these white people my whole life, and my teachers is white, and my friends is white. So yeah, my spouse is white. And just so happens I'm better than the rest of you niggas. That's a fair mentality to have, given the situation. It ain't right. It ain't the right mentality. But I can understand how it happens, because you have to alienate the gifted people. You have to ostracize them. No, you got to make it out. You got to make it out. You live in dystopia. You live in a war zone. You have to make it out. You can run that football. We got to make sure you make it out. Some virtuous drug dealer, hey, he's off limits. He run 4.240. He's off limits. Alienating gifted people. It's all structural. It's all. This is it's the big ism, my nigga.
I love that he's taking off and going viral, and there's a little bit of juicing in that too. And I'll go over my title why I called it juiced videos. But this is not uncommon. Where we lived, I lived across the water. I lived where the poor folks was living. Then we moved to this side of town and this wealthier area. And I can tell you, this is personally my experience where I've took tests, I've done things, and they're like, no, you go over there. I was in AP classes where it was like 10 white kids and me and one Asian, right? And so when you start talking to people, you think you better than us. You high-minded, you this, you that, you this, you that. And really it's like, because I read, because I develop myself, because I invest in myself, because I've already figured the most basic math problem out, which is go to work and make some money or use your talents and make some money. This is important, y'all. This is why when you sit here and even now when I talk to black people, they'd be like, "Oh, don't you remember that?" I'd be like, "What was the verses that just happened?" And I was laughing it up with Tim Jackson. What's the verses that just happened, y'all? What was it? Cash Money? Yeah, yeah, Cash Money versus No Limit. And they're playing it, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, I remember that, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. That wasn't my world, right? It might be a kid's a few years older than me's world, but it wasn't my world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you think you're better than me? Yes, I do. I do. It's called investing in yourself, knowing yourself, right? And so when you start talking to people, and I could not relate. I was on Facebook like I didn't get it. I don't get it, right? Um, that's where you start seeing the separation. When people are like knowing every stat on football, and you're sitting there like, okay, that's not that important to me. I have other stuff to going on. You know, there's levels people trap themselves at. And this is why I was gonna go into a whole thing about there's somebody right now who got mad because people were picking on him and he didn't get invited to stuff in his city. No problem. Well, he got an interview with somebody to interview him on a different channel. That different channel, the video stayed at about 9,000 for about a week or so. Well, then all of a sudden they jumped to 160,000. But the comments were at 200. Now the comments are up higher. But at the time, I was like, don't y'all know what a juice video looks like? This video all of a sudden is at 160,000 views with 100 comments. There's several creators that are doing this. This is not me picking on any one creator. There are several creators doing this. This is why I like to not do some of these videos so I can just see what the numbers are, right? And when you talk to people, right? And I try to tell them you need to enjoy the game, you need to enjoy the journey. They can't because they're so pressed on the money part. And when I tell them ego and identity matter, right? When I keep telling you about my family and where they come from, and we go all the way back, they owned slaves, and then this family member was a U.S. Marshal, and these people all served in the military. It creates a narrative that why are you whining? Your ancestors have done great things every step of the way. You know, but when you talk to people like, we never know where we come from, I don't know what type of African I am, just goofy stuff. Baby, go on ancestry.com and type your grandma name in and see how far back you go. This is why I kind of love that PBS story show, because he'd be like, who told you that? Your grandpa, your great, somebody was white. You know what I mean? Like, these people have these made up identities, right? And they're going online looking for validation because they don't know who they are. And this will get them trapped in a lower vibrational living or higher. Okay. Now, someone said, and this is very true. I want to make this clear. I keep telling y'all, Master P is who y'all think Jay-Z is. Right? Master P basically carved out this dirty, I don't even call it dirty South. I'm gonna say Louisiana by itself, but a dirty South, just steamroll leadership. Imagine someone offering you $1 million and you're like, nah, I'm good. Because if you're gonna offer me $1 million, I know I'm worth more than that. Right? So Master P is invaluable. Let me not. I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm just saying for that time period in my life, I was somewhere listening to country music. I was somewhere listening to pop. I was somewhere listening to Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. I was out there doing dances. That's what I'm saying. It was look, y'all were a little bit older than me, and y'all was into that. That's a solid. If you're listening to No Limit and at that age and Cash Money, you probably need to go get your prostate checked. You probably need a breast examination. You need a mammogram. If you are solidly remembering No Limit and Cash Money like that, it's time for you to go check your doctor. It's time for you to check out ARP. Just being honest. It was a couple years ahead of me. I'm not disrespecting nobody, but I just want y'all to understand. Okay. Well, Little Weezy is somebody's grandpa now. That's how long that's been out. Okay. But it's important. It's not as important as y'all voting though. um you know what? Listen, I could agree with that theory. That's a good theory, but I also think it was the convergence of time of I'm going to market myself. Master P was that first, like, we can market ourselves, right? And let's even take it a next step further. Luther Vandross. They did not want Luther. Luther put his own money up and put his album out. Go research this for yourself, y'all. But this is why when people talk about juiced people, juiced in the economy, juiced in the marketplace, juiced, that is what I mean. My 2 ex great grandfather was a black postmaster general in Mississippi. There you go. right? So when you know you have this lineage, right? When you can trace yourself back, that's why a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't own slaves," but you ask them really search, they don't really want to search. Because the average black person ain't searching. The average American Indian ain't searching. They don't really look back that far. That's why Ben Affleck wanted to take the show off the air, because they said, Ben Affleck, you come from you had a slave owner in person. Oh, what? See, people love to say, no, that was just 1% of our society, and magically no white person stands up and says it was their family. Right? The one dude that was the racist that did all that stuff a couple years ago, his family owned so much land and business in Mississippi. People were like, yeah, we're going to cancel them. And he's like, dude, we're from a slave owning family. We still own a ton of stuff in Mississippi. You can't cancel him. It doesn't happen. I could agree with that. Okay. So I just want to say, when you get into this area, this is we're going to go some more petty. We're going to go even more petty. I hope y'all ready for more petty. Here we go. We're going to get petty. I hope y'all enjoy. It's a Sunday full of petty.
$50,000 a year that are happily married. Their wives make lunch for them every day. Like, I live in a small town. It's in the country. And I mean, these are some good hometown country dudes, happily married to nice, sweet country women. Seriously. And I don't know any of them that are on here celebrating that the food stamps are going to get cut for some people poorer than them. And I definitely don't know any that are celebrating because now coochie going to be $40 and they can afford it because they go home to their wife every night. Like, the only people celebrating about coochie being $40 are not broke dudes, but dudes that just have no play, that have no personality, that are miserable human beings that can't find a woman. Because I know crackheads that are in relationships with no job. I seen some homeless people the other day hugged up. Okay. So if you got a job and you got to celebrate coochie being $40 again, and what exactly is $40 going to buy you? Have you seen the price of milk, eggs, bread, and cereal? If you think that I'm going to what woman, and they, you know what? Again, the dudes celebrating that have no play and probably, I know plenty of men that make $40,000, $50,000 a year that are happily married. Their wives make lunch.
Okay. I just want you to understand. This is why I say this internet is something else. Because you believe all these people out here are just miserable. And they're not. You know what I'm saying? We had I did Halloween candy, and I was handing out candy, and it was young families, it was adults, it was a couple. They were both Asian. They were dressed as Asian comic book characters and dressed a baby. This baby won't even one, y'all, as another comic book character. And I'm handing out candy in my cowboy hat. And they're like, "What are you?" I'm like, "A cold cowboy," because I had on shorts on, right? And I just want you to understand, like, you can see their face. Some of the people walked up the door like, "Oh, brown people live here?" Yeah, baby, brown people live here. We've been in this neighborhood longer than most of y'all. Y'all knew. We've been here. Right? So you have these people who are they didn't even hand out candy. Like, our one of our single men next door neighbors handed out candy, and he had all the lights on, and I think he wanted to make sure, like, look, I'm just a normal guy just handing out candy. You know what I mean? Participating. And I thought it was cool. Now, he got a big white van, so I know the neighbors probably like, let's watch this guy. Right? But there is this kind of narrative that, yeah, these women are going to get humbled and they're going to kiss our feet. And I'm like, what happened to men going their own way? I thought y'all was overseas with the passports. What's going on? All right. But this, that low vibrational, under 50K a year living where they're very upset. I'm going to play some more. We're going to keep going on to petty. Some more petty. Here you go.
Lazy and someone that can't really like pull her own weight, because my mom, right, I kind of base it off my mom. She works full time and she was able to take care of three kids, three boys. She cooks, she cleans. Do you think like women, if they could be like that ideal woman, that would be like what most men would want?
Ladies, if you're being pursued by a man, it's really important for you to determine exactly how he feels about the life his mother lived. If he's like this man, where he was like, my mother did everything. She worked full time, she was cooking for us, cleaning for us, doing all this, and he glamorizes it, he wants to make a mule out of you too. He sees his mother's life as a mule, as a noble sacrifice. And I'm sure if he actually asked his mother, she did all that because she had to, not because she wanted to. They want you to put a cape on your back and an S on your chest and be Superwoman, and and they want to just come home from their 40-hour-a-week job while you're exhausted, tired from doing it all, and say, you know what? That's a good woman right there. You don't need a pat on the back from a lazy man calling you lazy because you don't want to work 40 hours a week and do everything at home. Some of them are not looking for a mate. They're looking for a replacement mother that they can turn into a mule and run into the ground. Men like this don't respect women, and they think just by virtue of being a man that they're meant to be served. They want you to wait on them hand and foot like they're mommy. Like the video that I posted the other day of this woman saying that her son turned 27 and he needs a wife because somebody needs to cook and clean for him because she's tired of doing it. A lot of them were raised to believe that somebody's supposed to come in and treat them just like mommy did. And if she doesn't, she's lazy.
When I see a girl that doesn't work a job and is just like gonna be a housewife, that's what she is.
So this dude's Asian, and that's and in their culture they ain't playing that. And everybody's like, yeah, I see Asian women working in the store with their husband. It's blah, 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 blah. We had a coffee shop over by the historically black college here in town, and literally there was an Asian couple and their two sons working in the store. The mom ended up having a stroke. Like they had bought a house in the hood, they were doing good. They had bought the when the Iranian dude, his brother-in-law didn't come back, he was running the deli and it looked terrible. So they ended up selling the deli for like $10K, like no money, right? And so the Asians bought that. And so the mom and dad were working at the Chinese fast food place. The other sons were cleaning up the deli, and mom had a stroke. So they were going back and forth between the two of the businesses. They were running two businesses, but they were stressed out. That's why when y'all sit here and try to promote, yeah, women should be in here night and day slagging away. Like, no, there's countless studies after study showing all these women having heart attacks and having strokes and having stuff happen to them. Literally, when I had my appendix go out, people were like, oh, sometimes that just happens. I knew what happened. I had been working 2 jobs for 2 years. My body was tired. So I knew that's what happened. So I had to get my family to come and pick me up, take me home so I can lay down. Like I knew what had happened. And I told y'all, when people say, oh, it's harder than ever. It's harder than ever to make $100K a year. I was like, I was working as a pizza delivery person in a billing manager at a department. And I end up making 110 and 120 the next year. Right. And so I know you can't overwork yourself for sure. That's not the goal of this conversation, but it is so that people can say these like numbers are outrageous. No one can ever achieve them. It's just not realistic. Why you close that door? Okay. And so I just wanted, again, yes, Donald, but stress, developing cysts, high blood pressure, strokes, all kind of stuff. Cortisol, yeah. When people see men's bellies, they just think, oh, that's a man with a big belly. That's actually insulin resistance. When you see women with big bellies, we see a lot of women, we think, oh, they're just fat. It's insulin resistance. It's cortisol issues. It's the first step in people not feeling well. That's why I'm telling y'all, you're going to see so many supplements and hot teas and all this stuff. The obsession on the internet for their mother struggling shows they didn't respect their mother struggling. They didn't respect it. And they give their daddy a break on it. He's Asian. Trust me, that there's a reason his mom was working like that. Right? Yep. Real hard bellies. Right? Same with the men, insulin resistance, hard bellies, right? But I just want to tell you, this is a 50K and under conversation. The dude off Bigger Pockets, Sean Green, when he came out that he's a multimillionaire, he's losing money left and right. It was like, yeah, the woman I dated wasn't submissive. And they're like, well, tell me more about this woman. They were baiting him. She was an alcoholic. She had got DUI. She was a single mom. And you're like, you're telling me you're a multimillionaire in California and the best you could find was an alcoholic single mom with DUIs that you've been dating for the past 10 years. That's your level, dude. That's who you are. You attracted that type of woman. And so he had all this kind of talk. But here, another one. We'll give you another one.
Everybody, her current husband is leaving her for another woman. She's a stay-at-home mom. The husband who's leaving her, has a girlfriend that he's going to move down the street with. But he still wants to come see her and support the family after work every day. That's called control. That's called control. He wants the best of both worlds. He wants the life and the kids, but he doesn't want to have to do all the stuff that it takes to have the life and the kids, the family life. It's a lot. You men, you women know when you have kids with someone, it changes everything. It's a lot to handle. He clearly can't handle it, so he's going to escape it, but still have his fucking tippy toes in there. Here's the thing that I'm going to say to you moms. There's a lot of dads out there, but I can only speak on behalf of the moms, okay? To the moms, the most important thing you can give to your kids is a happy life for you, is a life for you that they can say, wow, mom really, they're not going to say it when they're this little, but when they're older, they're going to know how to treat themselves because you knew how to treat yourself. They're going to know how to set boundaries because you knew how to set boundaries. They're going to know self-care and self-love and self-worth because their fucking mom did. Okay, so all of the dad coming over after work, that doesn't work for you. That holds you back from the shit that you need to create. You need your home to be yours now. You need the home to be for your kids now with you. Your life is changing. He doesn't get to just fucking, let me grab something out of the fridge and sit on the fucking couch. I'm so pissed at him. Have him call me. I fucking don't like you, sir. But also, you're going to be okay, ma'am. Sister, you're going to be okay. I'm a walking billboard for divorce with kids. I got you, and there's a whole community on here that's got you too. Get a good lawyer. Get a good lawyer. I love you.
So I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband is leaving me.
Okay, so essentially, we could go all day and night with videos like this. We could do day and night videos. Like I'm not even joking. Hundreds of it. Like Coach Sean has been married for 20 years. The black woman I just showed y'all before this. She's been married 20 years. She served in the military. Her husband served in the military. Like she's been married 20 plus years. She does these videos and makes a good 40K a month, 40 to 50K a month off Facebook. She's good. She has staff that helps cut the videos, clips it up, the whole works. But in the comments, they're like, that's why you're single. And everybody be like, no, Coach Sean is married for 20 plus years. What are you talking about? So this part right here, when you hear stuff like this, right? Okay. When people are out here confessing their life, yeah, that's what they're doing. She does not have good friends or is not in an active church. Let's just go there for a second. When you're in community church, you're volunteer with United Way, there's people the more people know him, they're gonna be like, what are you doing? They're gonna address him. What are you doing? What's going on with you? What are you doing? And that's why a lot of these people stayed married so long. There's a video, I'll see if I can pull it up. Asia was showing, and she was like, it's sad. It's like an old black woman. She's like 90 years old. And they were like, well, how'd you stay married for 60 years? And she's like, well, sometimes you go on dates with other people. And everybody's like, oh, shame on grandma. But this is the grandma y'all talking about. Y'all want people to go back to. These women act like people's grandmas. They stayed married. And it's like, yeah, them grandmas. That's why you have uncles that don't look like your aunts. That's why you have cousins that don't look like nobody in the family. We don't talk about that though. But this is the reason this woman will probably entertain for a little while before she wakes up her husband coming in the afternoons. I'd be like, nah, bro, you can take him to soccer. You can take him to afternoon sports, but you can't come in the house. The house is off limits now to you because the kids are little. So she's going to be depressed for a while. So she's going to let this stuff come over here, right? She's going to let this drama go on for a year or two before she wakes up and goes, wait a minute, I want to date other people. If there's another man, if she starts dating another man, you think he going to let the husband just come in the afternoons and sit there with him? No, this is something somebody wants to do to think maybe she'll be cool with it. I can keep going back and forth between both houses. No, this is very common. So when people say, oh, why would women kick out the men out of their homes? Y'all know that's not true. Come on, man. Grandma had no shame. Grandma could have kept that to herself, but and she did the best she could in a nice way, kept it to herself. There you go. It's character. Again, people have to want to be dads and want to be husbands and want to be involved. There's countless stories from the 80s where people like, my dad was there, but he was a ghost, right? He was in the garage all day. We've heard countless stories like this. Let's go here too. This one, men hate him on this.
Men are just inherently changing. Men used to be judged by numbers. How tall are you? How much money you make?
Let me refresh it.
Article saying having a boyfriend is embarrassing. I think for men, this is...
I've been saying this for the longest. The benefits of being attached to a man are just inherently changing. Men used to be judged by numbers. How tall are you? How much money you make? You know, how many things can you do? And as our financial world kind of switches up and women are becoming more advanced and more financially liberated, then she don't really need you for that. And so for the first time maybe in history, men are required to do something we've never been required to do, which is be good. I never had to be good in my life. Be good for what? I just had to be good at it. And even now, you hear people say, man, a good man is 6'6", 6 feet tall, 6 figures in the bank, is 6 inches. You get the point. So you've been measured by numbers for so long that being good is a new experience. And it's something that men are having to learn how to do kind of on the fly, which has created what they call in the male loneliness epidemic. Most of these men are alone because they have no idea as to how to be good. They were only raised to be productive, not necessarily good. You needed mechanical intelligence. You needed mechanical intelligence and not emotional intelligence for most of your life. But when a woman can do all the things you can do and get all the financial benefits that you can get, well, you got to come up with a new hustle. And so your new thing is going to be just being a good person. And that's not how we were raised. Not that we can't do it, because I believe that we can. I believe that men are human beings. We're capable of learning and goodness and things like that. It's just not how we were raised up. And that's why you're hearing all these red pillars get out here doing all this yipping and yapping about submission, and they're trying to go back to the old way of just being productive, right? But productivity ain't gonna cut it these days. You really got to have some emotional intelligence. All right, I'm out the way.
Okay, so there was a video I was going to show, and I can't find it. I thought I had it again, but I can't find it. And this woman is crying. I mean, she's crying. She's crying, and he's like, "I'm a provider." It's a black couple, and she's like, "I just want you to say, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry you feel that way. Okay, how can we do this, right?" So he walks down the stairs. He stomps off. He just completely stomps off and goes down the stairs. And men are like, "Yeah, see, these women want too much." And I'm like, this woman is crying into a pillow. They live in a beautiful house. And all she was saying is, could you just say, sorry to hear about that. Sorry that went that way. I hope it works out for you. They had a whole article about men weren't raised to be cheerleaders outside of sports. Like, I can cheer for people on the same sports team as me, kind of thing. But what you're seeing now in society is, and again, when I bring it back to that food stamp conversation, people are like, why would people, they were kicking black men out the home. We know countless stories of people talking about how Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Earl was mean. Mr. Larry was mean. Mr. Jenkins was terrible. Mr. Whoever was this. We know countless stories of people talking about mean grandpas and mean dads because their mom didn't have no choice. She didn't have enough money. We all know the DeBarge terrible story, how she was with a white man and he was molesting all the kids. And she was like, who gonna take care of me and these 8 kids? That was her response. Every time they asked her, why did she leave? This man was beating you up, hurting the kids. She said, who was gonna take care of me and these kids? Do you know what I'm saying? You have to realize the expectation for your grandpa to be nice was never there. The expectation for your dad to be happy and play with you guys and laugh and giggle, it wasn't there. That's why you see all these countless people saying they had to cut off a parent. They get no contact with their boomer parents because they were mean to them. They were always mean their whole life. You hear all these Asian people coming online talking about how their parents never said they loved them. And that was just normal Asian culture. And then one lady was like, her mother was talking to her and she was like, I didn't love your daddy. And y'all look like your daddy. And she was Asian. This is why I want y'all to understand, like, this is the conversation overwhelming people making under 50K a year. And why is it? Because they're stressed. They tight, right? I can't go talk to people about swimming and pilot lessons and horseback riding and let's go play outside because they're so stressed about money and upset. I think his beard is for cancer awareness. Somebody in his life has cancer, but everybody missed that. That's all they could talk about. Oh, I can't take his message seriously. And that just shows me many things about people who say they can't, but that's okay. Right? Men were never raised to be good. They have excuses though. You're an adult. You have autonomy. You can learn. Yeah, there was a white man. His son had gotten in trouble and he was saying, and he got in trouble, I guess, kissing some girl and it went too far. And he was like, I kept telling them to be gentlemen. And when they asked the dad, what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? And he was just like, well, be a gentleman, be nice, don't brag about it. Like, he couldn't even explain what being a gentleman meant. Either he was just trying to not tell the cameraman or he just didn't want to be embarrassed. But it's really one of those things where he couldn't even explain to you what a gentleman meant. He was telling his 4 sons to be a gentleman. One was in trouble, right? He was telling them that, but what did that mean? He couldn't even express it. So I just want you to understand this is some of the stuff plaguing that level of community. Let me keep going, and then I'm gonna go over to the financial side a little bit because we could be in the doldrums all day talking this stuff. Let me go here. Let me share this, and this is important as we kind of pivot towards money.
Attached to the gas station, you got an Arab owned, you buy, we fry spot. You have a Vietnamese owned nail tech spot. You have a Korean owned beauty supply house. You have a Jewish or Caucasian owned payday loan spot. Does any of them live where they get money? None of these foreign owned entities support even the Pop Warner Football League or the basketball team or the Little League Baseball. They don't, you never even seen their names on the jerseys before. They do nothing for us. So we live in a colony right now, brother, and not a community. The people that own the property and the businesses don't live in the environment.
And extract everything out of it.
But a community is when the people that live in the environment own the property and the business and reinvest in that area because they are benefiting from it and they want to increase the value of it. In every black community, you have a Pakistani or an Indian-owned convenience store attached to the gas station. You got an Arab-owned, you buy, we fry.
Okay, why am I showing you this? Why does this matter? Because you're gonna be like, "What? Hey, where are we going?" All right, they won't though. It's walkable. There's 2 spots down the street over here on the side of town, and it looks like the dirtiest little place, and people be lined up, just cars rushing to get over there, and I'll be like, "What is the deal?" And it's because this is where they want to spend their money. They want to go to the smoke shop, okay? And so I want you exactly, Ant Dog, you know it, barbell method. So when this is the reason I was bringing this up is every time I see those kids down in the corner doing a car wash for their uniforms, trying to raise money selling candy, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts running around trying to raise money. And in my head, I always say, well, where y'all mama and daddies at? Why y'all mama and daddies can't buy the outfits? Y'all mama and daddy want y'all to play football so bad, but they don't got money for their outfit. Okay, something's wrong there. Erica, everybody ain't got it. Erica, everybody ain't got it. I just want you to understand that starts with your local community. These beauty supply stores, these Asian food places, these places in the hood, they need to be pressed every single month about why they are not supporting the local little league team. Why y'all not supporting the little Browns, the little Jeffries, the little Jerome's team? This is where it's supposed to come from. It's supposed to come from your local neighborhood stores. So then when you go play the game on the little fence, you see all the local stores who support it. Now I'm going to take it a step further. If you are a black internet creator in Detroit, in Chicago, in Miami, in Texas, wherever you are, and you online bragging about making $100K to $500,000 a year to $1 million a year, and you can't show me 5 little league teams and people you support, what are we doing? I love the digital aspect of this. I love all the digital stuff that we can do online, but how are we reinvesting in the community? I remember this man saying, when black women make money, they don't spend it in the community. They spend it on themselves. No. When you see black single moms with money, they usually buy a home. They buy clothes for their kids. They reinvest into their family. Charity starts at home first. Then you spread it out. You don't start feeding the whole village and you ain't fed your own children first. But this is the mindset. I told y'all I had an employee that worked for our family, and our family still knows her. And she had kids in Little League, and she was less than a mile from the school. And she was always saying how these other parents need to pick her children up. These coaches need to pick her children up because she's a single mom, and they need to help her. And I remember looking at her and saying, why would parents pick up your kids a mile away from a school when you're not going to go drive to their neighborhood and pick their children up? You're not bringing oranges and fruits and veggies and bananas to the practices and the games. These are simple things. Well, I ain't got the money. You ain't got money to buy 2 things of bananas and cut the bananas in half. This is the foolishness people are trying to serve you. But this is that 50,000 and under. These are the same people crying about the village not supporting. They won't even buy extras, pencils, or paper because they're scared some other child's going to get their stuff. Women invest back in the community all the time, whether it's babysitting, taking care of kids all the time. That's why when I was in the store and some kid grabbed my leg. I bent down and looked like, okay, where your parent at? Because I didn't touch this kid. I don't know who kid this is. I didn't touch him. And I want you to understand, like, sorry, I had to look at this thing. I want you to understand this is the conversation they're having under 50,000. Because it's really about getting some motion for yourself. Let me see what this is right here. First people to yell, did they give loans to everybody else? They try and go get a loan. They don't try to do any of it. They just complain about it. Facts. Faxes. Let me go some more. I see y'all. If you ask them, they will say they can't worry about that right now because they don't have enough money. That's their favorite word. I just don't have enough money right now. Well, when will you have it? Next month? Next week? I know somebody right now who makes $6,000 a month, and they right before their check is due, hey man, can I borrow 100? Can I borrow 200? I'm like, what is going on with you? You already know. Y'all already know what time it is. Let me keep going. They've been running. So the barbell method, I've talked to y'all a lot about it. Barbell method is when you have a bunch of C to F properties on one side of town. And on the other side of town, you invest in some nice quality stuff. So what you're seeing, especially in the Asian community, is especially in New York, they're saying how they're going to lose 80% of the Chinese food restaurants because their son or daughters don't invest over there anymore. They've already moved on to real estate, investing, Wall Street, other stuff in New York. And the parents are like, yeah, we just did the restaurants because we had to. Right? No. Don't try to twist what I'm saying. Don't you do that. Don't you, Sammy. Sammy, you was doing good. Now you're doing bad. Sammy's like, you're saying most elderly boomer men are emotionally and physically abusive. No. What we're saying is there's countless stories of somebody's dad who wasn't nice. They made a movie called Fence. It's been on a Broadway play for 40 years. Fences. Denzel Washington just played in it. And so many black people are like, yeah. How come Tyler Perry keeps making all this money? He keeps telling these stories that we know exist. Y'all don't want to be true. Y'all know as many as nice. I have all my uncles are nice. I have one uncle that's a little grouchy, but all my uncles have been nice, have been caring, have showed up in my games, have been loving. But we all know one or two and extended family members who are not. To act like you're saying all men? No, I didn't say that. That's where we're playing this game of what about who it again, you're deducting from the sentence that I'm saying mostly. Your comprehension's off. Raisins in the sun. Listen, come on. Yep, most immigrant parents don't say I love you. I'm Haitian. It's not the culture for parents to say they love you. This is a survival mode. Do you understand? When you talk to most of these people who parents never said I loved you, never hugged them, they were in survival mode. Raisin in the sun. Right? Tyler Perry could not make money if this stuff was not somewhat accurate. Thank you. Be able to still get free lunch or reduce lunch. Come on. Now that I think about it, growing up in suburbs, this is exactly how it went. Local businesses always donated to local schools, even had calendars set up with the school with them. All right. I've always heard horror stories about the silent generation men. Right. Now, and I'm giving great, like if you go a little bit further back tonight, if your grandparents are 80 to 92 years old right now, they participated in war wars. Okay. They went to war, right? They had a whole different thing going on. Even black men that are 70. I tell you all the time, when I meet a black man over 60, I have a different level of respect for him because he went through a whole different America. You might went to Vietnam War. I mean, Asia's daddy went to Vietnam War. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandpa did. You know, he went to Korean War and Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're talking about a different level of what's going on, right? You're talking about people with PTSD and more. But to act like that's crazy, I never heard that. Go ask some Haitians. Go ask some Jamaicans who dads got second families. This lady was went viral on TikTok talking about she thought they daddy had a second family. Come to find out at the funeral, they were the second family. And the only reason their mama got some insurance money is because she took out her own policy. So I was like, your mama had to know she was the second family at some point in this journey. Your mama can play stupid if she wants to, but she had to know. The community is addicted to highlighting struggle. I have to pull teeth with veterans to get benefits we served for or believe it. Oh, honey, yes. Do you know how many people I've talked to who are like trying to get veterans to sign up for their benefits? I have people in my life right now. We're trying to beg them. Their feet, their back is busted. Hey, please just go. Go get that extra $4,000 a month. Oh, they're going to do this to me. They're going to lie on me downtown. You're like, what? Go down there and go get your $4,000 a month. You're entitled instead of working at jobs you hate. Okay. So anyway, let me keep going. Listen, your grandpa over 80. My grandpa died and he was 94 years old. And trust me, he lived a whole different America. His whole closet was suits. When he was at the restaurant, old folks home for a brief time, he was there because he had a stroke. He literally had on dress shoes. And they were like, do you have some sneakers for your grandpa? I'm like, he ain't got no dress shoes. He ain't got no sneakers. He wear boots, cowboy boots, and more boots, and dressed church shoes. And so they looking at us like we abusing this old man. I'm like, I promise you, he don't have those. He don't have no sneakers. He have a closet full of suits and boots. You know what I'm saying? Like, we bringing you the best clothes we can find. Now put these nice church shoes on this man so he can move his legs for the therapy, okay? And stop looking at us like we crazy. And again, my grandpa lived in the age where he had multiple rental properties. So when y'all act like black people could never do anything, my grandpa was in Chicago owning multiple properties, owning multiple stuff in the hood, owning stuff across town. Erica, your family's different. No, it's not. My grandpa worked in sales. My grandpa served in the military. They lived in Japan for 7 years. Both my uncle and my father was born in Japan. My grandma served in the women's army. She was in Japan. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I keep telling y'all these stories, y'all keep acting like our parents were dumb. Not everybody's parents were dumb. Not everybody's parents just worked at the factory and didn't do anything. Right? I'm an only child. Somebody said I'm an only child and I was treated well, but my parents and my grandparents never said I love you. It just wasn't in them, but they demonstrated their love. Yeah, and that's possible too. That's very much possible. I'm not, taking that away from you. But I just want to show y'all, there's a lot of shenanigans out here. I just want to go where I'm going over it today so y'all can see, because that's mostly the lower income shenanigans. Now let me go over here to the whiteboard of truth and justice as we like to talk about it. And I've got so many. Let me see. Oops, don't do that. Don't you do that, Ricky Bobby. Cut it out. There we go. Sit here. Let me see which one is it I'm trying to show y'all. It's a couple of different things I want to show y'all. Okay, let's go here, and then I'll come over some more. So when I talk about this, like, overall health, people are like, I'm a provider. Like, what? Come to reality, brother. Okay, spiritual, health, wealth, relationships, adventure / new, and personal growth and career growth. What am I talking about when I talk about that? Okay, 9 times out of 10, you'll talk to people. Let me get this off the screen. I love and miss those grouchy silent generation people. They were a trip. They were. I had family members. I tried to hug them. They'd be like, "Get off me, girl. Get your damn hands off me." You'd be like, "I'm just trying to hug you." They'd be like, "Get off me. Unhand me." Like he was kidnapping them or something. Okay. All right, so let's go on. Okay, so here you see the star on the left-hand side that I'm talking about. So when I'm talking to people, you have to, and I'm being as nice as I can when I say this. Some people are so stuck in the wealth part, like they're stuck on the money. Um, that their health and relationships will just always suffer because they can't get out of survival mode. Right. So when I talk about relationships, I don't mean just you chasing women. I mean, how's your friends, your guy friends? Do you have community? Do you have a church you volunteer with? Do you play on a softball team? You know what I mean? Like, they had sports teams in Austin. And it was like co-ed sports teams, and you couldn't join as a guy unless you brought one girl with you or something. It was crazy. They would try to make it real diverse. Health, right? A lot of y'all think, well, look how healthy these people are. I can show you countless videos. I put it up on the wall about juiced people. All these people online taking TRT, taking drugs so that they can look fit. So you keep having these bodybuilders drop at 35 and 40 from a combination of them taking the jab, taking steroids, taking a bunch of stuff in their body. And then people be like, well, he died doing what he loved. Doing what? Doing drugs? You got a lot of these people on YouTube who are actively doing drugs. That's why you see The Rock coming down that weight so fast. That's why you see Batista coming down that weight so fast. That's why you see all these NFL players getting out of the NFL and losing 100 pounds in 1 year. That's not safe for anybody. But they want to convince you that this is healthy. This is how healthy people look. This is how healthy people look. Healthy how? Do you know how many people I know spend night and day in the gym and they are broke as a joke? They're a semi-flat tire. Okay. So again, spiritual. What is spiritual? Acknowledging there's something greater than you out there. Right? It could be you hiking in the woods. It could be me. I spend summers in the wilderness. Okay. Adventure growth new. Can you acknowledge when you need new? Right? Some of these people be working. They be like, I'm married and my wife just left me. That's just not possible, sir. I was Will Smith and my wife was Jada. She was ungrateful, sir. Will Smith already told you he cheats all the time. He was cheating on her before they had kids, and during when they had kids, and after. But you missed that part because you're like, he Will Smith. All of them. Y'all do this. What's his name? Steph Curry. Steph Curry may come home and tell that girl, shut up. But y'all like, he's Steph Curry. He got the shot. He got money. We don't know his overall health to the family. We don't know. Michael Jordan's kids tell on him all the time. My daddy was gambling, drinking, and ignoring us. Michael Jordan children don't waste no time telling you he was not there. Okay, so y'all be equating money to success. It is not. Oh, honey, they were swinging a long time. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just the internet's catching up to Will and Jada. Okay. Same thing with Steph Curry's parents. Mom and daddy magically do a couple swap. They was couple swapping before the internet. Okay. We just caught them in the story that don't make no sense. Yeah, we're going to divorce and swap. Yeah, my wife is dating my girlfriend's ex-husband. What? So again, y'all are assuming because money has been solved, the people are enlightened. This is why I made the second graph, okay? The second graph to the right is this lower. Okay, we have two extremes. Let's really go there for a second. On the left-hand extreme, you have Michael Dell's son at 29 years old, raising $1 billion in Austin, Texas for solar power. I keep telling y'all what's coming down the pipeline on solar. I've told y'all that for about 10 years. Feels like it, maybe at least 5. I've talked to y'all about solar panel in Texas and how people like, oh, they're a bad investment. When you live next to them data centers and your water's messed up and your energy bill's $800 a month, you're going to be putting solar panels on your house. I'm telling y'all now, you're going to start seeing so many houses near these data centers get solar panels. That's why Elon Musk is tipping over in also solar power as well. Don't get lost in this. Tesla is really not about charging stations. It's about putting that solar panel battery in your house. Okay. So let's get into it. Now, the other end of this is they're so poor. They're hotel hopping. They got no food. They sleeping in the car. They're part-time worker. They're Ubering for $20K or less a year. Like every time I see these videos of people living in their car, I'm like, before you lived in that car, you should have been gig working that car. Before you got to the point where you in the car. But see, people don't really listen till they get down to their worst, right? People having heart attacks, people being fat, people being overweight, all kind of stuff. They don't listen till they get real bad, right? And then you got to tell, hey, man, hey, you got to stop. So those are two extremes. Let's be very clear. That's the extreme. Now, in the middle, most of the American middle, what I call the American middle, because this doesn't exist anywhere else in America. And outside of America, it doesn't exist, y'all. I know y'all go to the resorts, you go overseas, you travel, you think everybody's doing so well. Europe is so great. The average European family makes less than $30K a year. When you translate it to American money, they make less than $30K a year. They pay most of it in taxes. A lot of them don't own a car. They have no choice but to walk. Their biggest joy they get is smoking them pack of cigarettes over there. Go to France. They smoking cigarettes like they want cancer tomorrow. But you know why they ain't dying like that? Because they walk all the time. So let's keep it moving. So on the lower end, we're talking about 35K to 90K, because that could be a couple together. On the way other higher end, upper is going to be 100K to 400K a year. Now, they're going to get bogged in the middle somewhere. And the middle I put down there is they're going to get lost in sports, music, trips, shopping, right? We have a family member. It's the truth. Go Google some videos on Europe. You'll love it. You'll laugh your butt off. Okay. They get lost in sports trip. I have someone we know who has like 27 credit cards. And to this day, I'm sitting here like, why? Because they like shopping. They'll never be debt free, but they love shopping. Okay. So let's go ahead over here up to the top. Go to the top of the little two, arrows. Spending, catching up, helping other family members. That's also where they get bogged down. That's fine. That's also where they get bogged down. They're spending money, they're catching up, they're helping other family members. You'll hear people like, I make good money, right? But what happens? Somewhere in there, they're getting caught in the lost in the music, the trips, the concerts, the Chris Brown concerts, all that stuff. Now, when you get over here to the upper, they've solved the money issue to a degree. They're comfortable. They have time to think. So they start buying what? Assets, building things, investing in things. Right? Congrats to your grandma, man. I hope she hits 100. I really do. That's what I was hoping for my grandpa. Didn't happen. But I hope, I really do. And so they'll get lost here in this area. All right. This is the majority of what happens to most Americans. Now, why do they get lost there? Majority ego. It's mostly ego. Let me see if I can get over. Let me go. I'm going to skip that. We'll come back to that. Down here. Now, let me play this video so that this makes sense. This chart won't make sense till I play this video. Let's play this video so it makes sense to y'all what I'm talking about. And he just did this the other day. You should totally see this.
They know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000.
Hold on.
Dollars a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country. $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up. You can't. Shut up. Stop saying ridiculous.
Okay. Immediately, I have to stop him. Because this is a whole rant about 75,000. He should live in an apartment by himself. He should have a car. He should do all this stuff. And I'm going to be honest. My nephew is 18 years old and he buys $900 auction cars, turn around some for $3,000 to $5,000. You're going to say, well, that's because you live near an auction. There's tons of auctions in every single state, every single city. This is happening everywhere. Everywhere. You can get a car. And one of our cousins is driving one of the cars now and ain't nothing wrong. They just need a paint job. Right? Is exactly, Sammy. Like, who told him that? But this is what you're learning. A lot of these people are learning that they're broke because they have no investments and no reoccurring things paying them. Okay? So let's get into it. Oh yeah, police auctions, all this stuff. Okay. I think I've told y'all the story a million times how a driver stole one of our semi trucks, parked it in the middle of nowhere, ripped all the signs off of it, ripped the license plate off of it. So they took the truck off the side of the road and put in an auction. I put in a police report that was stolen. It wasn't until they sold the truck that was worth $40,000 at an auction for almost 10 grand. And they were like, yo, you got this police report out on this truck. You better take it off. I said, I'm not. The city was like, okay, we owe you the money then. Because you did put in the police report that it was stolen. So I got a check from the county for $9,000 for a truck that was worth $40,000 because the law couldn't make them give me the man give me the truck back because it had been sold at a police auction. Okay. And I took that money to the bank and the bank was like, well, we can't cash it. You can leave this money with us for a week and we can deposit it. I said, this is straight from the city of, I'm not going to name it, in Texas. You guys should get cash this check. You can call over there. No, we're not going to do that. You can either leave the check here or it won't get cashed. Because $9 grand is a lot of money in this economy. That's why I want you to understand, like the average person comes to the bank with less than $2,000 or they just come and cash checks and leave the bank. 50% of Americans don't even have a bank. So when y'all sit here and try to tell people like, I make so much money, like that's not a lot of money, sir. It's not. So let me keep it moving. But I just want you to understand, like the whole car, the entry level car. I need a new car. You don't need an entry level car. You don't need a new car. You can go get an $18,000 used car. You want a new car. You want a new car. You want the pickup truck that you don't use for anything. Let's go.
Those things. An entry level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k, because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home, and you only eat decent quality food, because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows, just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to. There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means, objectively, you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
Okay, so two things here.
All right, so let me, because there's another part of the video I want to show, but I want you to understand this. That's entitlement. I'm entitled to do this and do that, because I do $75K a year. Hold on, I'm gonna show you this one. Let me go over here and show. Let me go back, and I'm gonna show the second thing too. But let me show this so I can tie it in together. Okay, so again, I'm gonna clarify this for him, because he didn't realize what he was saying. The average car payment is $500 to $700 right now in this economy, and then on top of that, add insurance, $200, $300 a month. So you're paying $1,000 for a car. So if you're gonna sit here and say, "I deserve a car," you deserve to pee $1,000 a month away to a car. Cool. This is why I drive by neighborhoods where it's nice houses and there's a broken down Dodge Charger in the yard. There's a broken down car in the yard, because they got the car but couldn't afford it. If you can't buy the car twice, you can't afford it. Let's just go there. Okay, so let's go here. I went and got my car fixed, and I paid like $2,000. It was at the dealership for like almost 3 weeks, and they were like, "Do you want to trade it in? You could trade it in." I was like, "No, I'm fine." But I said, "It's fine. It's paid off. I don't care. Here's 2K. Let's go. I'm gonna take my car and I'm gonna go on about my day." People are not ready for this conversation, but let's continue. Right here, okay. If you're at 35 to 45K, nothing. I'm just being honest with you, doing math. No new car, no car loans, no extra insurance, and no extra going out. Now, if you're married and you and your partner, y'all married early, 235K, 35s, okay, y'all might be able to do some things. Okay. Partner, but this is where you start hearing all this conversation about credit. They're super credit focused, because the only way they'll ever go on some of these vacations, the only way they'll ever pay for some of these airplane tickets, the only way they'll pay for some of these hotels is if they have credit cards. This is what they're saying. They need to have credit cards to live. This is why I've never been like, get you the credit cards. Y'all seen this channel. I've talked about credit as steps 1 through 4. You know, the basic is, can you get an apartment? Can you get a car if you need one? Can you pay for the first level emergency if you need one? right? When Dave Ramsey goes, no credit cards, I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to say, yes, get $1,000 on a secure credit card, because if I go try to rent a Hertz car with a debit card, they're going to pull $500 and pull my credit report every single time. How, let's just save ourselves that headache, have $1,000 on a credit card and pay $200 down for a rental car and be done with it, right? If you go to some of the gas pumps now and you swipe your debit card, you get your money stolen from skimming. Guess what? They don't pay you back. They steal it from your credit card, your bank is going to pay you back. So yes, I'm going to not go Dave Ramsey here. I'm going to say if you have $1,000 credit card, that's fine. Okay. Now let's get to it. On the board, you see I have there. Job with 55 to 75. Can you get a new car? Can you get a new apartment? Yes, but that's it. You're done. You're tapped. This is where I put this little green line. This is where ego and choices come in. Right? If you think you're great and you're good at 75, you're good. I'm living in New York City, but I make 75. I'm good. I live in Atlanta and I make 75. I live in Miami, Florida, and I make 75. I'm good. If you think that, that's where you are. That's cool. That's it. That's it though. That's it. That's it. Just shoot right there. That's it. You're going to be in this 55 to 75 for a long time. Now the problem with some people is they want to go date people, but they don't want them people to want more out of them in a couple years, which is what is natural of anybody. We want you to grow. We want you to make more money. We want to go on trips. We want to explore life. We want to have a venture. That's just normal for anybody. But these people want that now without any, I call it the nonchalant. Oh, I make decent money. Everything's okay. Eventually I'll get to it. If you're nonchalant about your money, you're nonchalant about your life, you're nonchalant about introducing and dating women, you're nonchalant about any of this stuff, then that's what you're going to get, a nonchalant life. Right? Diamond Dave does a great thing talking about men saying they should be dating these women 4 times a week. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. I had 2 friends. One friend they both were broke in Austin. Broke guys doing gig work in Austin. One was a musician, one was a substitute teacher. What ended up happening is one got real creative on dates. He was always taking girls to the happy hour. He was taking girls to the discount spot. He was taking them to Wednesday to the pho place for the $10 pho bowl. He was doing all kinds of stuff. He getting them ice cream. He was walking with them at Town Lake. He was taking them on scooter rides and all kind of stuff. He had a blast. He was always 2-stepping and dancing at the country music place. He had a blast and he was broke. Our other friend was broke and was like, women won't give a nice guy a chance. And the guy that was broke that looked good, he was the one crying. The guy that was ugly and going bald, he was having a blast. He was dating girls. He was asking them out. He was taking them places. The other guy that was broke, that was good looking, didn't want to try. He was like, well, if a guy's nice, you guys should give him a chance. You're like, bro, you're broke. Just go make some more money. Right? And so you just have to understand, if that's your level, that's where you are, that's fine. You have to be creative. And most people don't want to be creative. That's what they're telling you. Okay? Now let's go up to the next one. If you get here, you get this government job, you get this high skill job, you get an overtime, you're at 90 to 150K with you and your spouse. Now investments make sense. Now stocks make sense. Now land, new development makes sense. Now here's again where ego and identity come in. What does your wife see herself as? Does she see herself as somebody having a brand new SUV, having a white SUV, doing all the hobbies and decorating the house with hundreds and hundreds of decorations every year and spending all this money? Is that who she sees herself as? Then you're going to have to rein that in and get her to focus on investing. If we buy this rental baby this year, then we'll have money to send little Jimmy to the private school. Whatever you got to do, carrot and stick to figure out how to get her into the plan. Right? Whatever you got to do to get her into the plan. That's where this is that level that really, that's why I put a star beside it. At that level income, when I was making that for 2 years in a row, I was like, man, I can go buy a house. I can do all kind of stuff. I was getting people telling me I should go get pre-approved for a house. It was very much. I had lots of ideals. Like, well, I could do this. I could do that. I would spend $5K for a course. This is where you had all those people in 2020 during the pandemic buying Terry's course, other people's courses for 5 and 10, 20K, 1,000. When you make that much, yeah, it starts to make sense to spend 5 and 10 and 15K and start joining memberships and start taking pilot lessons and horseback riding and having hobbies. That makes sense at that income amount. Right now, when you get up to the next, this is, small business owner job. This is a dentist. This is an eye doctor. This is a, I've had one or two guys who had eBay stores call me with this amount of money they were making. I had one guy, he had a store at the flea market and he made this. One dude had a food truck and he made this, the 150,000 to 400,000. And I was just like, what's your identity? He wanted to be out of the food truck. He wanted to have staff in there and he wanted to do other investments. So you just have to know somebody's ego, identity, how do they see themselves, and that will let them go up or down from there. Now, once you get to 400,000 a year, it's all infinity, choices, and ego. I remember I had made 300K for the first time, and somebody was like, "Yeah, go ahead and buy your Porsche now." And I thought to myself, "Why am I gonna go buy a Porsche right now? Like, I just figured out how to run the business right." You know what I'm saying? I just spent $50,000 in educating myself this year. I don't think I should buy a Porsche right now. But some people, that's would have been their ego. They gotta have the Porsche, and the Porsche ain't gonna do it but sit at the house because they working from home. Right? Let me go into the next part. This guy right here. This is this guy's page. Your driver, Mike. Now he gonna tell on himself. Again, your success to gig economy. You go look at his page. Mike has got 232,000 subscribers. We probably show you Mike makes thousands of dollars a month. And he's talking about gig work. And there's people on YouTube who've been gig working for a long time. They ain't as good as Mike. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get into it. We skip over to this one so y'all can hear Mike tell on himself. Let me hear him tell on himself.
With 2 degrees, I have my bachelor's and yes, an MBA. And not only have I been driving, it's been 10 years. I've been driving for like gig platforms, food delivery, like delivering pizzas and stuff for 10 years now, off and on. I know I've seen other videos that are like, I'm 40 and I'm still working a dead end job, or like, I've worked for 20 years and I hate what I'm doing. This isn't a sympathy video. It's more so because like I help you make money in different side hustles. I do this gig work now to maximize your income, but it hasn't always been like this. So I just want to tell you, framing it with like gig work and stuff, if you feel behind, right? If you feel behind, what have I learned after 10 years of gig work and maybe having a degree that is basically worthless now? I mean, think about it, really. That MBA and like arguably even my bachelor's for what I do now, like this is it. This is what I do full time. I help you make money in different side hustles, but I started in customer service. I was working in a call center, real customer service in a call center for 6 years. And I did retail before that. I first started this gig work, it feels like just a couple of years after they came to Pittsburgh here. And I started with rideshare. I saw those pink.
Okay, we're not gonna watch this whole thing. The point of me showing this is a 1-bedroom apartment. It's nothing. It looks very neat and lean because there's nothing in it. There's a TV and it makes you feel connected to Mike because look, I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment like y'all, right? And look at me, I decorated it. I put lights up. Mike don't live here. Y'all not ready for that conversation though. This Mike's work apartment. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's 2 YouTubers in Atlanta. They have an apartment, a studio apartment, and then they have their actual apartment in the same building. So they'll go out of their one apartment and walk over to the other one. I wish I could tell on them right now, but I ain't petty like that. I ain't that petty today. And you'll be like, oh my God, he's just like me. There's the dude on more dates, more plates. He's made 10 million multiple years in a row. They took a fake wall, wood paneling wall. They put up a fake wood paneling wall to mimic his first apartment. So the show every year, now you know he's making millions of dollars, but he has a fake wood panel wall behind him in a studio so that y'all connect with him. Because what does wood paneling say to y'all? Wood paneling say to me that this is my grandparents' house, and they ain't never spent $10 to put actual drywall up. They kept this terrible wood paneling up all 40 years. It makes you feel connected to them. This is why I talk about juice videos. This dude is pulling in at least 200,000 to 300,000 plus a year. And y'all be like, nah, your great people ain't making that kind of money. Baby, I'm in too many vid summits, too many trainings. I'm in too many YouTube. So YouTube asked me to do a survey at least 3 times a week on different stuff and different creators. And I'm in different trainings all the time. I want you to understand that when people say I'm getting an MBA, unless you are going to an in-person MBA and you have an internship at an actual financial place, it does not matter. It does not matter. It won't work for you like you think it will. Same when I hear a broke person say they're gonna file for bankruptcy. If you're not making 10K a month, on the other side of bankruptcy, there ain't no point. There ain't no point. I'm telling you. This is how when I worked as apartment management and I was billings manager, and people be like, the manager be like, nah, he got an eviction in California. I'd be like, this dude has transferred for his job to Texas. He makes 13K a month. Yes, he has an old eviction. Let's just ask him to put an extra month's down payment down. And the person be like, well, we're supposed to honor other apartments by not renting to people with evictions. I'm like, girl, get real. We need to meet our numbers this month. And guess what she would do? Take that extra deposit. I told y'all this years ago. If you came to Texas with bad credit, I know all the people coming to Texas had a lot of bad credit. Okay. A lot of them had bad credit and evictions. They done got evicted in Atlanta, evicted in Houston, evicted in Miami. I would say go find a brand new construction apartment and go give them that extra down payment. Just go ahead and do it. Go give them that extra down payment and keep it pushing and go on about your life. There's a whole book that's like a bestseller called Living Well with Bad Credit. People literally go driving around for apartments looking for the little red for rent sign, handwritten stuff. There are companies now purposely changing the sign and handwriting the number on so people will call because they know you got bad credit. They know. I've been been millionaires. Been millionaires. Y'all, come on. It's numbers and data and sales. And one of them does comedy on the road. Again, they keep that apartment. That's their work apartment. Neither Albert nor Preach live in that apartment no more. That apartment is a work apartment. And they're not going to leave it because it's Canada. There's 2 or 3. Listen, look at his place. That's a work office. That's a workspace. There's no food. There's nothing on the counter. There's nothing in the refrigerator but drinks. You're not ready for that combo. Let's keep it moving though. So, he'll tell you, if you go on Mike's page, again, go down here, complete the challenge, double your earnings, all this stuff. All right. It's got links on links on links, right? Log into the new tool for gig workers. Like, again, let's go over Mike's main thing right here. If you go to this, again, I tell y'all, like, let's do the 10% rule. Okay. If 10% of his 18,000 people watching this video, and that's 1,800 people, click on a link, sign up for something, sign up for Amazon Flex, sign up for DoorDash. Again, when I share, I'm going to just tell y'all right now, Fundrise. I share my Fundrise links all the time. It says you get 25, I get 25. Let's just say I got thousands of dollars from y'all and y'all got thousands of dollars from me using that Fundrise link. So, and I have a small channel in comparison to most people, right? But if you actually go look at some of these people's numbers, right? You just go look. You can do the math. It's very easy to do. Right. Right now, Affirm sent out a thing for me to do a video and a couple other one. I'm telling you, I get about 10 sponsorship emails a day, about 10 to 15, but pretty much 10 every single day. I've made some videos. I don't know if y'all seen on Instagram or seen on other places, but I've made some videos. Trust me, he is getting some dollars here from referrals, y'all signing up, trying it. It's a combination of stuff. All right. Go check it out. Don't take my word on it. Just, do some basic research. Let me pull the other one up. Because y'all be thinking, Erica, I posted some videos. I didn't feel good about it. Cool. We can go a lot of conversation. Let's go here too.
Former business partner for millions of dollars alleging fraud, we might have a pretty big fake guru on our hands. But first, we'll start with this clip.
Bro, I had a $4 million house. I got rid of it. Why?
How much?
$4 million.
I've been told that he claims to have owned this house, however, after a lawsuit was found in Puerto Rico alleging $186,000 was owed by Luke and his wife due to early termination of the lease. Thanks for this tweet, Michael Ringer. I was also told by Steve that this is the case and they haven't been able to find him to serve him.
How much do you spend on it, if you don't mind me asking? Probably about $90,000 to $110,000 a month on distribution.
Distribution of his content. So this is the same strategy implemented by Andrew Tate, Iman Gadzhi, Luke Belmar, handful of others. They figured out that you could create a lot of accounts and push your podcast, chop up the podcast clips, send it out to thousands of accounts, and that's how these guys got so well known in a very short amount of time. If you aren't familiar, he's a pretty big influencer, millions of followers throughout all of the platforms, 730,000 here on Instagram. What he did well, he went on a lot of podcasts. He's a pretty good guest because he gets millions of views for all these podcasts, and so he's able to develop this persona of this entrepreneur. Well, we might find out a little later who was actually paying for it. The lawsuit filed the other day, Steve Tan is the plaintiff, suing Luke, that's his real name, and his wife, in Capital Club, the company they co-founded. We gotta go back to 2018 when Luke messaged Steve directly via social media to help him with his personal...
Listen, y'all can go watch this on your own. Long story short is Steven Tran put $3 million into pumping those videos, juicing the videos, juicing the ads, doing all that stuff, right? Lots of juicing going on. Juicing the videos. What was the lawsuit between Drake and Kendrick Lamar? It wasn't Drake really attacking Kendrick Lamar. It was literally Drake attacking the record label. He's like, I know you juiced his video because you juiced all mine. You've been juicing me for 10 years. So I know you juiced Kendrick's. And that's why I'm mad, because you're attacking my reputation by juicing Kendrick's album. Now, what did that do? Right? The culture is the culture, and Kendrick is what it is, right? He was, it just was a moment, right? We build people up and take them down. So then all of a sudden now he's on Super Bowl, he's doing all things. That's millions of dollars. Whether Drake ever wants to come out and say it, Drake lost probably 30, 40, 50 mil. Now he didn't technically lose it. It just went into Kendrick's hands. You can say it how you want. Streaming, apps, opportunities, sold out concerts, all that stuff. Okay. But that's what's happening around you. There's a lot of juicing. Let me pull this up over here. Let me go over here. And I'll break this down next. Let me see. Do I have the other one? Oh, here's another one on the financial side. So this is Beyond Win. Love it. Go learn about him. He's great people. I have an investment in Cleveland. Multiple one at this point. But long story short, he has a lot of students, 7-figure portfolios in Cleveland, owning 19 units, flipping houses. Like this one lady lives in Atlanta, and she already told him, listen, I'm in Atlanta. There's only so much my 200,000 can go in Atlanta. But if I take this money and bring it to Cleveland, now me and my husband done flipped 11 properties, and we made $500,000. I know how I feel about flips, but this is a city to do it. This is a city where you can get 30K houses and put 40K in them and rent them out, right? Now, y'all can go look at his stuff on your own, but shout out to Beyond Win. Tell him I said, what's up? All that good stuff. But, he was saying on his last thing he just did his last event, and now it's his son's host the event. Same event, but his son's hosted, right? You got to move the money around for the kids, right? But long story short, there were people who were from Cleveland on his last bus event. He's like, how many times I've done this in Cleveland? I've done this in Cleveland for 6 years. And not one time have we had actual Cleveland people from the city in these things. This is where I get into the argument with y'all that most people like telling people they live in Houston, and they don't live in Houston. They live in damn Katy or somewhere, right? They like telling people they live in Dallas, but they really live in Cedar Creek or somewhere further out. They like telling people they live in Las Vegas, but they really don't live in Las Vegas, right? They like telling people they live in Miami. They don't live in Miami. They like telling people they live in Virginia. They don't. I live in DC. No, you don't. You live in the middle of nowhere. Stop it. Stop the lies. You don't live in DC. But it's the epitome of saying I'm somewhere, right? Whenever I hear people say they're bored, oh, I'm in a small town and it's boring. No, what you're saying is you want scallywag activities. Because there's plenty of plays and schools and baseball games and basketball games and things to attend. You just don't want to do that. That's when people say, oh, I live in New York. That's why I love, listen, when New York said we're going to charge a commuter fee, I thought that was great for New York. Y'all want to keep claiming y'all love New York so bad, you drive into it and make money, you need to pay a fee. Every time you drive in the city, you need to pay a fee. They really got to do that. Okay? They really should. But Cleveland, why invest in Cleveland? Why invest in the Midwest places? Because they're cheap and these people will never buy. You know, people I've talked to that are from Cleveland saying they'll never buy a house. Oh, I'm never the taxes. They always say some stuff like that because rent has been so cheap for so long. And now when you say, hey, the rent for the bottom unit is $750, the rent for the top unit is $1,100. Oh my God, Eric, I can't believe you're charging those prices. For sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it would be easier to buy 3 of those duplexes, right? And rent them all out. And now I got 60 something K coming a year from a city I don't even live in. Than that girl who's in one of the videos buying a bunch of properties in Atlanta. She won't be able to do it. You got to have big money to flip in Atlanta. You got to have big money to flip in Miami. You got to have big money to flip in Austin, Texas. This is why I talk about the land grab course, because you're going to start. I'm going to go to the other chart in a second. Let me get to this. Do I have my other one up? Do I have it up? I don't think so. I don't think I have it. Dang. I showed on. I don't think I have it. Oh, well. I can play this part too, though.
Banks have less cash because people are quite honestly broke. Deposits have been falling for years. Families drain their savings just to buy groceries. Corporations pulled their cash out to buy back their own stock or move it into higher yield funds. So even if interest rates drop, which they have, there's literally nothing left to lend. And Donald Trump, he's only made it worse. He caused inflation with tariffs. He's collapsing healthcare so millions are choosing between food, rent, and medicine. And he's driven out millions of immigrants who, I mean, whether you like it or not, were customers. They bought food, clothes, cars, and kept money moving. And now that velocity is just gone. Meanwhile, the stock market looks great, but it's all fake. Big companies have been buying back their own stock, shrinking supply so that it makes their prices higher. AI companies are built on hype and not results, and investors are just parking money there because there's nowhere else to go. In 2008, though, we had tools to stop this kind of crash. We could cut rates, print money, and rebuild. But now, those tools are gone. Rates are already low, the debt is massive, and banks have less cash than they did before COVID. That's stagflation. Prices rising, jobs vanishing, money drying up. And when stagflation hits a broke middle class, it doesn't end in a soft landing. It ends in a depression. So don't let them tell you that this is normal, because it's not. It's deliberate. They're crashing the system so they can rebuild it in their image. And this time, sadly to say, there is no parachute for us.
All right.
Let's dissect that for a second. I'm going to go back and read some of y'all comments, but I just want to tell you, if you live in a house, you and your husband own, your only thing you're doing, right, it is clawing back on. I'm gonna say this is controversial, and y'all can talk bad about me. I don't care. If you make under $75K a year, I don't know why you're paying $400 a month in insurance. No, Erica, don't say that. I have children. What if something happens? I can tell y'all, go ask people that work in insurance. Go ask people that work in insurance. I really want y'all to ask. Go find a few people that work in insurance. I remember talking to this guy who offered trucking insurance. And he said, the crazy thing, Erica, is I do this trucking insurance, and 95% of the men never go to an eye doctor, never go to appointments, never sign up for a thing, never go to the doctor whatsoever. The company's paying money, they taking money out your check, and you never go. I remember working at Papa John's, and the manager was like, do you know how much I pay for insurance for me and my wife and 2 kids? It was like something like $800 a month. And I was like, your wife's in perfect health. You're in perfect health. Your kids are in perfect health. Why? Y'all not even going to doctor's appointments. Y'all not going to anything. Don't pay it. Well, Erica, anything could happen. Cancer, stroke, heart attack. I'd rather have insurance than not have it. I'm at an age now, even where when I have a particular doctor, I kept getting different coverage. And they would not pay for this doctor because he was in a particular type of office. They're like, we don't cover that. He's not under your plan. So I had to keep paying $400, $500, and one time $600 out of pocket every other month when I went to go see this doctor. So I'm thinking to myself, why am I paying for insurance if they're not even going to cover this? Right? Y'all not really trying to have that conversation. But the truth is, a lot of people are paying insurance because they're fear driven. And that's what keep insurance going. When all these people in Florida start cutting insurance, they're like, yeah, they're living dangerously. No, they're not. No, they're not. They really aren't. I promise you, they really aren't. All right. Oh, what about the hurricanes? I'm telling you, on average, there was like a 5-year window where Florida didn't have no hurricanes. What's happening is there's a thing called captive insurance. You're going to start seeing more and more wealthier middle class people that have free time to think and invest and read. You're going to start seeing them use captive insurance because that's what the big boys use. That's what the wealthy use. This is where when people like, they take all our money with insurance and this, I'm like, no, they're taking all your money. This is why that Clint Coons guy, let me see if I can pull him up real quick. Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know who Clint Coons is. His name is Clint Coons. I feel like I don't know if that's his real last name, but he made sure he was going to make some money off that name. Let me see if I can pull it up. No, it's a bunch of fake pages online. Clint Coons. But we'll show one of his fake pages. Just this is not his page, but I'll just show it. Because he's asset protection, something. If you go read his stuff, go look at some of his stuff talking about LLCs and putting stuff in trust, and if you can't hide your crypto and how to shut down things. And I promise you, you don't get to this level though until you make a decision. Now, what is the decision you have to make? If you are a guy or girl and your family know your wife is never going to make more than $55K, she's a school teacher or something like that. Right? Right? If your husband, he's a football coach and he teaches and he's never going to make over 65K at this school for the next 10 years foreseeable, this is where y'all income going to be. This is when you go into defense mode. I'm gonna be really honest with you. If you know this is where y'all gonna be for the next 10 years of your financial life, you're gonna be stuck here. Same thing someone told me, took me aside and said, Erica, if you think you're gonna be stuck between 100K to 500K every year for the next 10 years, you need to do everything to fight taxes in your business. You need to go buy a rental property every other year or build one every other year. So now you never pay any taxes. You make one unit Section 8, you do the other unit regular rent, right? You go make certain investments. Then you go on to defense mode because this is your money. This is your life. But what people are going to say is, Erica, I'm tired. I'm tired of making decisions. I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too bad. I think David Williams said the other day, he's like, I'm sure I don't work till 8:00 at night. I don't need some woman to come in my life and stress me out and have a stroke. You shouldn't. And that's why when I see these women working like this, I started watching women who were 10 years ahead of me. And I was like, do I want to live like that or do I not want to live like that? And what I started noticing is those women had hobbies. Those women made them children go sit down somewhere. Those women had gardens in their backyard. Those women had well-rounded lives. Right? There was one woman, she was a wholesaler, but she wasn't like all the wholesalers I knew that were running around stressed out, tired. Oh my God, I'm trying my best to make 10K this month. She wasn't like that. She spent her money on her ads. She made her phone calls for certain hours a day and she was done. And she focused on her kids. She lived a great life in Austin. You wouldn't even imagine she being a wholesaler. But she wasn't doing it from the perspective of, I'm so broke, I got to wholesale to make money. She was doing it from perspective of like, this is just part of my everyday life. I do 5 hours of calls and then I go spend the rest of the time cooking for my kids and having a good life. But you have to understand, like you have to make a decision and be honest with yourself. Are we going to be here financially for the next 10 years, me and my husband? So I can't be living in fantasy land about vacations and other stuff because now we have to go into defense. K-shaped economy. Right? I told y'all about the black couple in Dallas, how they were best friends with their neighbors across the fence. They were just best friends. They could have cut a hole in their backyard and said they'd hang out all the time. Right? And they said once they told them about Dave Ramsey, people laughed at them. And then 9 years they paid off their house. They said when they told their friends and they did a debt-free party, all the people disappeared on them. Nobody wanted to be their friend anymore. You know why? Because the reality of they've been talking about Dave Ramsey about 9 years now. We also could be debt-free, but now it's in our face. Anytime you do any changes in your adult life, anytime, Like, and this is something my friend was saying. I was complaining about how there was a 5-year window where I just buckled down. I did YouTube hard. I invested. I ran these companies. I did all this stuff, and I lost a lot of people. And he was like, "You didn't lose anything. You didn't lose anything because so many people, all they wanted to do, Erica, is get a little bit of job, get a wife or a husband, go home and see their kids and sit on the couch. That's what they want to do. So you doing all this stuff is too much for them. You flying around, you traveling, that's too much for them. You talking about going snowboarding, you know what I'm saying, 2-3 times in January, that's too much for them. You talking about traveling to Puerto Rico and Panama and all these places, that's too much for them. And you have to know when something's too much for the people you're around, and you will have to make new friends. That's just what it is. I was at the school for one of my nephew's award ceremony the other day, and I looked down that hallway and I said, if this is the average American, God bless us. Because it was a bunch of no-neck pot bellies out in the hallways, men and women. I was like, God, nobody. How do you go to work? Right? So you have to understand, you have to make some strong decisions along the way. Now I'm gonna read y'all comments and I'm gonna wrap this up with this the last part of the whiteboard, truth and justice. But I just want y'all to know I hear a lot of y'all comments. I really do. And I'll be like, all righty. So here's this one. The on the left hand side is real estate, on the right hand side is digital. So let's go real estate first. Okay, the easiest part of the funnel, ready to go on a sound of MLS. Roofstock.com, it's LoopNet. There's a reason it's there, but it's the easiest to buy and just go with it from there, right? That's the easiest. Next, looking for tax deeds, tax foreclosures, auctions. We'll go over that next week in the land grab course. Tax deeds. There's over 20 different tax deed auctions coming up. I'm trying to figure out which one to narrow down for the conversation, but we'll just go over multiple states and why it's so important this year and what made this year different. Auctions. Okay, next level after that is calls from brokers and realtors. They know you're in the game. Many people are not in the game, y'all. I literally was out in Western North Carolina, and I was on site measuring a property. A guy pulls up. He's a real estate agent. He's like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm like, "What you doing?" We end up talking, chatting. He knows all these connects in New York. Now I know all these connects in New York because I know him. And we're going to hop on Zoom and we're going to see what we can do, what we can produce. But you actually got to be outside. You actually have to be in the field. You have to actually be doing something. You have to be knowledgeable for people like, yeah, let me go ahead and help you. Let me go help you. Let me figure out how to do this. Right? Okay. That's when you get calls from brokers and realtors directly because they know you're actually active in the field. They can see you bought sales. They can see you built houses. Okay, looking for distressed homes and vacant land. If you're in my land grab course, we talked about the 15 different ways to do this. You can do this just driving neighborhoods you normally won't drive. The average American drives the same 8 miles on average from their home outside of work. They go to the same grocery store, the same Lowe's, the same Home Depot, the same stuff. I'll tell my mom something that's across town. What's across town is 15 minutes. She'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going across town for it." I'm like, "Mama, it's 15 minutes. I'm not going across town." And I'll be like, "It's 15 minutes." My aunt's house who burned down, she was a solid 30 minutes, in a 3,600 square foot house. And the family be like, "Oh, we're going to schedule Saturday over there 2 months from now." You'd be like, "Why y'all act like we got to schedule this? It's 30 minutes around the corner." But I've been living in Texas for the past since 2012. So my mindset is I drive an hour anyway. I drive 3 hours to Dallas and Houston all the time. I'm willing to go wherever opportunity meets. But you have to realize as people get older, they don't want to drive that far. They don't want to do a lot. They want to get in their garden. They want to feed their cats and they want to chill. Okay. So if you go on my land grab course, and I tell y'all, if you just drive 1 hour a day, yes, in this economy with the gas, right? You will find countless stuff that's available to be sold or purchased. As I was driving back from Charlotte the other day, I saw at least 15 different vacant houses that were just vacant. I said, I wonder what's going on with that house. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Next one. Land flipping, direct mail, cold calling. Now you're in the game. You're actively reaching out to people. You have people going to be calling you, talking to you. What can you do for them? Flipping houses, that's next level. Now you really out there. You talking to contractors, you babysitting people, you trying to watch the margins, right? New construction. Now you're a developer, baby developer. Next level at the pinnacle of this is developing apartments, cul-de-sacs, master plan communities. Do you know how many little one-off streets I've seen where some guy, he just said, I'm gonna build a little neighborhood, and he made a little circle, put the houses on it. It's the reason some of this stuff seems hard to y'all, because the gap in what we focus on. When you're under 50K a year income, your focus is on survival. Your focus is on 50-50 conversations. And how come these women don't want to kiss my toes? And how come these men ain't running across the street to give me flowers? That's where you're stuck at. You're stuck in that malaise of, you see these Asians in the community owning businesses? Like, you're stuck there. You're stuck in survival conversations. So this is why when you tell your friends and family, hey, I'm going to go study and do A, B, and C, I'm going to take a test. It's like, well, why would you want to do that? Because that seems like extra to them. Okay. So, and I promise you, once you get here, people in my inner circle, people that came out for the day we had in Houston, the Houston takeover, y'all know how easy it was to cross this line. Just cross right on over here. Right. I already told you the rule. If you own 3 houses in America, you're in the 1% of America. This is why people choose here. You can be like, well, I can go live in Canada. I can live in, you can live in Mexico. You can live in Canada. But guess what? People are breaking their neck to come here. And I've shown you countless stories of people who left to go back to India, left to go back to other places and said, let me come on back. They knew what time it was. Let me go and pull this over. Now, on the digital side, because you say, Erica, I don't know about real estate. I don't like real estate like that. I just want to sit in my house in my drawers and do internet. I want to get a second apartment and put green lights up like Mike. Okay, cool. You're going to have your title here. Your top part of the funnel is organic views, organic reach, catchy titles, right? Collaborations you do. Second level is multi-platforms, multiple reach, coaching, community, courses, the deadly 3 C's, right? This guy was talking and he was saying, oh, I love this guy's channel until I found out he sold courses. That's a jealousy issue. That's an ego issue. That's an identity issue. Your identity is wrapped up in, if you can't get it for free, you somehow got cheated. This is where you get all these men online like, yeah, we got to figure out how to lie to these women so they give us the draws. You're like, what is the problem? Just advertise yourself looking for hookups, and hookup type of women will come to you, but they don't want that. They want to get something for free. Feel like I got you. I convinced you. I tricked you, girl. Ha ha. And that doesn't work. It doesn't work for your life. So it applies to all categories. So again, juicing the content. I can name you about 10 creators right now who are juicing their content. Okay. They have 150,000 views and 200 comments. That's not even the 10% rule, right? They have a lot of let me step out of there before I get cussed out. Funnel them into other sales, right? Creating an army of pages. I've showed y'all this several times. I think I might be able to pull it up again, but essentially what they do is they'll reach out to 300 to 400 Instagram pages and pay people to be on it. They'll share that content. So you'll be on, what do you call that page? Shade Room and stuff like that. They're paying $6,000 to $15,000 to be posted on Shade Room. Right? They are literally juicing it to the gills. Okay. So they'll be on 300 pages, and that still works to this day. There's a lot of these pages, you pay $55, your post going to be up there 24 hours or maybe a week. It just depends on the page. All right. You do that times 300. You do the math. You got to have money for that. That's why that guy, Stephen Tran's doing that other guy. Because he came out of nowhere and you're like, who is this guy with these bad quotes? Y'all keep interviewing this weirdo. Oh no, it's because Steve Tran paid $3 million. So he's all over the internet. That's how that happens. All right. Paying for an army of reposters. This can be done with 2 people on staff and a couple of VAs where y'all make, 100 YouTube pages with different emails and all this other stuff and posting all this content and chopping it up a million times. You can even do it now with OpenAI, Opus.ai. It'll chop up one video into 10, 20, 30 clips. You just put them out there. Okay. So now you keep coming up in everybody's algorithm. They're like, who is this person? That's how that happens. Okay. Then people do reaction videos and you know how to do. Next is pay for podcasts or shout outs. We know the whole podcast payola. They're paying to be on people's podcasts. Of course they are. they are. Duh. Hosting events, speaking events. This is when this person, that's why I put the line here. When they start doing this, they've reached a good point. I remember when Terry had sold all those courses, and then all of a sudden Terry had an event, and it was like a room at 500 people in it. I was so proud of her. It was awesome. Y'all seen I've had the boat party. Y'all seen I've been a speaking event. Y'all seen I've traveled for speaking. You do the math, right? Now the media company staff just recycles all of it over and over again. And it makes you think this person is blowing up. Now, this works really great for 2 to 3 years. The 3 to 5 year market starts to hang on. It starts to be like, it ain't gonna work as good. You start having to pay them more. Because what happens is everybody's seen that person. So they want the new stuff. Right? That's why Him 500 blew up, took a break, came back, lost weight, came back. Right? This is why some of the biggest names Andrew Tate is going through this right now. Andrew Tate, again, the puck has moved. Right? Again, before Donald Trump got in, Andrew Tate, he had thousands of people reposting all the content because YouTube couldn't knock off all the pages fast enough. Does that make sense? If YouTube knocks off 300 pages and you got 500 pages out there, good luck. Okay? Let me go in here and read some of y'all comments. And there's a lot I could say. I'm gonna get out of there though. Let me just put Mike's nice background on there. I'll read y'all comments. I'm guilty of assuming someone has wealth or a great life because their physique. When I see them walk out of the gym to their car, I see the confidence deflate because reality hits again. Thank you. You know how many guys I see leave the gym and get into a Honda with no seats? Like the driver's side passenger seat is tore up, the inside tore up. You're like, God, what hope his life gets better. There are people I see getting old pickup trucks with the rust all over the side, but they got a great 6-pack abs. This is the problem people have in America. If you look good, then all is good. And this is a dangerous place because you see Ben Mala's a billionaire with a belly and titties and got his third wife. Okay. You know what I'm saying? All his kids rich and fat. The two of them are fat. Well, one of them's fat now because the other two look skinny and lost weight. It's a very dangerous thing. Listen, when he said that, I said, okay, this that white man Delulu. This is what Aaron Cleary calls the white girl's ice. Just dreaming. I can do whatever I want to do. All right, girl. This is why immigrants love to come to America over Europe. The income power is higher. Ex-doctor engineers make more in the U.S. than Europe every day, all day. Erica, they live more in Europe. They ain't got no choice. They got to walk. Yeah, they walk into the parks. Yeah, they sit down at the water fountains. America used to have over 2,000 Olympic swimming pools. When we had to break up segregation, white people, instead of saying, let's share the swimming pools, they covered them in cement. You can go in every major city right now in the United States, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Ohio, all the cities, and they all had Olympic-sized swimming pools. We look like Europe in a lot of places. You know why they didn't want to do it? Racism. When people are like, why is everything about race, Erica? Because it is racism. Okay. Let's keep going. 75K is a good way to start investing money and paying bills on your own. You're not rich, but you're definitely not poor. Yeah, they're depending on what them taxes look like. If you're in California, it's tight. It's a little tight. Yeah, all those reposts coming, please. Exactly. Thank you so much. She said mayhem auctions are nationwide. There you go. He said that his ex-wife moved in with him because he couldn't afford his rent in Florida. Who said that? Please tell me who said that. Is this Mike? I can't. It's so crazy. But that's the truth. Money will make people stay in houses together. Just like the business that sit vacant and so somebody of another race coming back. Oh, Angela's pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Angela's shooting. Okay. I was making $72K a year, and with money left over, I started my own business. Then again, I'm in Ohio. 75 is poor everywhere else. Listen, 75 in Ohio, you balling, girl. You could have bought the block. We want to look so good and not care about bills, the Jones effect, but everybody broke. Yeah. I'm rolling in my paid off 2012 Yukon Denali. Runs great. I refuse to give it. Don't ever give it up. Drive it till the wheels fall off. The people are mad at you right now. They can't make money off of you. Come on, man. Yeah. But see, they don't see what they don't realize is 70K they can buy a home. It's just not Instagram home. It's not a home from Texas. You ever watch those videos? Y'all, I'm really seriously debating on trying to find a real estate agent and we go film a bunch of big houses in Texas because they literally it'll be 500 comments on a post on Instagram and everybody's mad about how big these houses are in Texas. Well, they have property taxes. They blah, 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 blah. I'd never live in Texas. It's a red state. Rah, rah, rah. And it's like, cope more. Cope more. We don't care. Cope more. I found out rappers don't even make that much money. Come on, man. You already know. I had a 23-year-old couple that makes 65K so combined. I got them 10K down in down payment assistance and they bought a 30K car because they wanted something that was them. Blew the deal. Oh my God. Listen, this is how crazy it was. I got turned down for one of this house one time and I was like, what? And like we had to go to a different mortgage broker. And he was saying, I just got two of couples that made 70K a year approved for a house. And there were like 3 or 4 women that were single women that made 100K, 150K, 170K because they were engineers in Texas. And he was like, the bank has to explain to me why I can't get this woman in a house. And the bank was like, well, because they're the only person making income. They haven't made it that long. Someone made it for 2 years, 3 years. Some made it for 1 year and a half. But yeah, the society is made for people who make 60 to 70K as a couple. It's 2 paychecks there. They get in the house and then the wife can quit. That car, Mr. Samuels, that car obsession of like, I gotta look like somebody. Man, I remember being nice and somebody was driving like a old Porsche. And I was like, oh, that's a nice car. He was like, yeah, you black people always think because somebody's got a nice car. It's great. I'm like, no, I just was trying to say that's nice. You know, I was trying to be nice to them and people be taking it personal. Yep. Exactly. That's very slim. That's very slim. They're not ready to talk about it though. I'm not gonna cap 75K is pushing it though. You need to make a net of 10K to feel comfortable for real. It all depends on personal habits. Yeah, you almost have to, if you can convince your wife to cook, and you as a man can cook as well. Y'all can put stuff in the crock pot. If you can really get a handle on the cooking, and like I have friends who they'd be like, you want to come over? We can grill out. I already have burgers made. And what I realized is they were just trying to save money. Because every time I'd recommend something going downtown, they were like, come over. Eat dinner at our house. They were on a no spend year. And once they told me they were on a no spend year, I respected it more. And I would bring like, hey, I can bring a salad. I can bring a this. I can bring a that. And you have to look crazy sometimes to people. I came to Houston making 70K, working remote with a woman and a 1-year-old. We had everything we needed, but extra had to be planned out. You got to sit down and plan it out. You got to chart it out. Like, all right, we're going to go once this month to this. Okay, we're going to go over here because Houston got a lot of good food. You got to be careful. It's rough in Miami. Also, Ohio is a cheap state. Yeah, it does. 72K is great for a single person in LA. I don't know. I'm gonna believe it though. There's a lot of unique apartments out there. Listen, when they told me cleaning ladies were making $170,000 a year in Miami, I already knew what time it was. I'm like, again, this is why when y'all sit here and argue about credit is when people nonstop beat you over the head about credit. Credit is just a tool to do the next thing. Right? Your Latino brothers and sisters aren't crying about credit. They're going out and getting to it, right? They're cleaning houses. They're cutting grass. They're getting actual cash because they know I can go over. If me and my wife work hard for 2 years, we can go over and go get us a house and then cut back on hours. Okay. My bestie is moving from Dallas to Salem, Oregon to make 130K a year. I don't think I would move to Oregon for that. She could have more. She might want to get some of them old lumberjack men out in Oregon. I don't know. She might want to switch it up. This is every middle management husband's fight. Convince your wife of the dream and future through investments and middleman building businesses. Yeah, pretty much. You got to show your wife, hey, if you give me a year, this is what this will look like. This is why when I show y'all videos of the wife is living in a tiny home or a bus, he has convinced her, if you just give me a year or two, We're going to make all this money. We're going to do A, B, and C. Right? Bingo. Bingo. Thank you, Donald. You got it. That's the answer. A bachelor's and an MBA. Most people watching his show have no education. They just are either going to work at Amazon. They're going to go down the street. You know, you have to sit down and chart and be smart. Right? Mike is making 200 to 300,000 a year off YouTube. That's why when people make fun of stuff like this, like, oh, Eric, you making fun of his apartment. I'm not making fun of his apartment. This is his work office. This is not where he lives, y'all. This is not at all where he lives. I've seen it plenty of times. He could go make 150 being a GM at Taco Bell, but people don't want to do that. They want to have a social status, right? Very basic aesthetic. Like, oh, look at these lights, and there's nothing in the kitchen. It's nothing in the whole apartment. It's all good. There you go. Smoking and grilling with AB. Got a nice multi-bedroom apartment to film his cooking content and don't live there. Facts. What shots was fired at Dame Dash? Who did it? Not me. They're no different with all these minimalist visitors sitting in their apartment house with a couch. Some people just sitting on the floor. I'd be like, look at this BS. That's how they pull you in. That's how they pull you in. Like, I'm just like you, eating chili out of a can. Getting the first 6 figures is not hard. You strategize. Yeah, but what happens is people, it's not about the money. It's like they get addicted to a certain type of, they want to live 6 figures and not work 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? There are programs out there that can get you in. Any bachelor's will put you on track to make good money. When I see people saying I'm educated and I failed, my Albert, listen, the number one thing I think is you're bad at work, you're bad at interviewing, you don't know how to dress, you're applying for jobs you know you don't qualify for. There's a lot of reasons why somebody's educated and working at Starbucks. Half the people I see working at Starbucks, that's where they can only place they can work. They looking crazy. 9 times out of 10 looking crazy. 9 times out of 10 blue hair. 9 times out of 10 nose rings. I have a degree. And a nose ring, you ain't getting in nobody's office. Get out of here with that. I got a cybersecurity certification and a Microsoft certification. Was able to transfer to another department, make my first 6 figures at Big Pharma. I'm telling you, once people like you at the office, you just moving around. Man, it's looking hella sparse in there. I went from technician to engineer. For sure, for sure. Let me see. Yeah, listen. That's why right after everything said and done, the lawsuit with Kendrick numbers started to drop drastically. Yeah, because they were juicing the hell out of Kendrick. Like, it was great, but they were juicing it. Exactly. When people start saying, oh, it's boring, what they're saying is, I want to do scallywag stuff. I want to do Las Vegas and Miami activities every weekend. I want to be in a pool, dancing with random women I don't know every weekend. It's like, okay. All right. Well, here's the thing. You know, and dog, I'm gonna tell you like this. If you don't do nothing but buy one duplex, and I mean, I wouldn't even buy a rough one. I'd buy an already completed one, be honest with you, with tenants in it. And the reason I know that chart I read off to y'all is accurate because every month, at least twice a month, my property manager sends me an email of other properties that are rentals. Did you like to buy this home before it goes on the market? So when I sit here and tell you, like, if you're already in the market, people will send you other stuff. So he's like, I ran all through Ohio. Listen, enjoy Texas. Build where you are. But if you do get one rental, at least that'll pull, you know what I'm saying? In my mind, when I tell people that, they got enough credit, they get one rental in Cleveland, you know, they can pay cash for it, you know, preferably. That extra 2K that comes in your month or extra 20K a month that comes off that property, you know, it's no sweat off your brow. She said, I'm buying a house in Ohio, then moving to NC. Man, NC's got plenty of opportunity. Listen, Notary World, God bless you. God bless you. You're touching on healthcare coverage versus healthcare access, I think. Facts. So, like, they love saying, oh, we got you covered. We got you covered with this crappy doctor that, you know, you can go to. No. You can pay and go to the places you want. A lot more health clinics that are really good are starting to not accept a lot of different types of insurance. The one place I go to that I'm talking about, I pay $500 for that doctor. He doesn't accept any Medicaid, Medicare. He don't see no poor women. He don't look at poor women. You got to be a wealthy woman to come over there. Just being honest with you. Yep, they ostracize you. Yep. You're a constant reminder of what they failed to capitalize on. Yeah. Man, everything's 5 miles away. That's crazy. Canada is more expensive than the United States. There was a guy, he was saying how he lived in Canada for 10 years. Then he went back home to Jamaica and was like, I got to get out of here. Came back from Jamaica, went back to Canada, bought 2 rental properties. Then he started moving around more. But see, that's what happens. People go to a country and they want to just chill. They don't realize like, oh, this is expensive. I have to do A, B, and C. Definitely gained excellent info from the builders and the group that was there. All right, thoughts of a wildflower. You got it. Racism is the reason why we don't have mass tragic equal to Europe, Asia. Facts on facts. Listen, they were arresting black people walking beside the trains in the 1930s. Y'all know them old laws. Oh, the bald white guy. The bald white guy is like, you deserve this. You know, it's like, knock it off. Exactly, IG Homes. Man, I love Jeeps now. That sucks. Yep. Credit is a tool. It's just a tool. So anyway, that's what I have for y'all today. We done went 2 hours. It was crazy how long the show was. I thank y'all for your time. Again, thank you so much. Checking in the Sunday sermon. Also, you can grab the Land Grab course or Digital Delivery Warriors. We'll be going over different trainings over there. Y'all been hilarious today. Thanks for your time. It's a lot of craziness out here, but don't fall for the juice videos and everybody's in extreme poverty. They can't even afford, bread and sandwiches. It's a K-shaped economy. Right now, if you're making over 80K to 200K a year, you're like me. How can we go to Europe and snowboarding in the spring before the crazy digital ID? How can I go more swimming, more pilot lessons, more horseback riding, more hobbies? How can I pay my cold callers from overseas to put more money in it? So anyway, go enjoy football. You were right, exactly. Go enjoy football, you guys. Have a great day. This is your girl Erica, Classic on Blog. Later. You've probably been seeing these commercials for Middleman to Millions course. What is Middleman to Millions? We're teaching so many people how to have service businesses. The upcoming year, one of the fastest growing businesses you will see are service businesses and digital businesses. Why is that? Because so many things need repairs, need maintenance. And guess what? We have a shortage of men and also women who could do things. Listen, I'm not the best with a hammer, but I know I can gather a crew of people to get things done. And that's what I've done with 2 of my service businesses. And that's what I'll be teaching if you check us out in the Middleman to Millions course. And look forward to us on the road with Digital Liberty Tour 2024. It's Erica Williams.